Have you ever felt like the weight of the world is pressing down on your chest, squeezing every breath until it feels impossible to move? Every expectation, every judgment, every small inconvenience piling up until even the simplest tasks feel like climbing a mountain. You try to push through, but each distraction, each criticism, each moment of chaos chips away at your focus, your energy, your peace. You tell yourself to stay strong, but deep down you know you're reacting, not choosing. Most people live this way, constantly responding to life's assaults, giving away pieces of themselves with every irritation, every setback. And yet, there's another way, a path few dare to take, but one that can transform every moment of struggle into a demonstration of inner power. Imagine moving through the world carrying the same burdens, facing the same challenges, but feeling light, untouchable, unshaken. Acting as if nothing bothers you is not about denial. It's not about pretending that problems don't exist. It's about reclaiming the one thing no one can take from you, your control over your own mind, your own emotions, your own reactions. Think about it. Every time anger flares, every time frustration bubbles up, every time fear grips your chest, you are making a choice. You are choosing to hand over your power moment by moment to circumstances and to people who have no real claim over your inner world. But what if you didn't? What if, in the face of every insult, every delay, every obstacle, you could move with calm precision, observing without reacting, responding without losing yourself? That freedom is not a dream. It is a skill, a discipline, a form of mastery that anyone can cultivate. Acting as if nothing bothers you is a declaration of independence. It is the quiet rebellion against chaos, the intentional refusal to surrender to every small storm that life throws your way. When you begin to practice this, you start to notice something remarkable. The world doesn't seem as heavy. The people who once drained you no longer have the same power. Challenges feel like opportunities to demonstrate strength rather than threats that diminish you. And here is the emotional reward that makes it worth staying with this journey. The first time you truly act unbothered, the first moment you respond with calm instead of reaction, you will feel a weight lift from your chest. You will realize that the suffering you carried for so long was never about life itself. It was about your mind agreeing to carry it. Acting as if nothing bothers you is the key to freedom, a form of inner wealth that no failure, no insult, no setback can take away. It allows you to move through life with clarity, confidence, and focus, turning chaos into clarity, distraction into determination. This is your chance to stop being a passenger in your own life and start steering with purpose. To claim that calm, that unshakable center, is to claim your power back, moment by moment, day by day, until it becomes a natural rhythm of who you are. The world will continue to test you, but when you act as if nothing bothers you, nothing can ever truly shake you. Before you can truly move through life unshaken, you must first understand what disturbs you. Every irritation, every pang of frustration, every moment that leaves you feeling small or powerless is connected to a deeper trigger within you. These triggers are not random. They are reflections of past wounds, unprocessed emotions, and patterns that have been silently shaping your reactions for years. When someone's words sting, it is not the words alone. It is the echo of old insecurities, a habit of self-doubt, the unhealed parts of yourself that rise to defend against perceived threats. When traffic enrages you, when a friend's comment cuts deeper than it should, when setbacks feel like personal attacks, it is not life that has gone wrong. It is your mind reacting, conditioned to overvalue the negative, to feed on disruption, to surrender control. The first step toward acting as if nothing bothers you is awareness. Notice what sparks tension in your body, what thoughts spiral in your mind, what emotions pull you under. Watch without judgment. Observe the triggers as they rise, like waves forming on the surface of the ocean, without letting them drag you beneath. Awareness creates distance. Awareness creates choice. The moment you can see your triggers clearly, you step into the space where true power exists. This space is the fraction of time between stimulus and reaction, the sliver of awareness where freedom lives. It is a place where you decide who rules your emotional state, life, circumstance, or you. Acting as if nothing bothers you is not about suppressing feelings. It is not about pretending to be unaffected. It is about choosing consciously which feelings deserve your attention and which do not. You are learning to filter the noise, to recognize that most disturbances are trivial when measured against the life you are building, against the energy you want to preserve, against the peace you deserve. Each time you pause, each time you notice without reacting, you reclaim a fraction of your power. And these fractions accumulate until they form an unshakable foundation, one that no insult, no frustration, no betrayal can crumble. Your mind can be trained like a muscle. Each time you allow a trigger to pass without giving it energy, you are strengthening your resilience. Each moment you resist reacting, you are teaching yourself that your inner world belongs to you alone. Acting unbothered is a deliberate, conscious habit, and habits are the architecture of your life. When you practice this consistently, the trivial stops feeling urgent, the noise stops feeling deafening, and the chaos around you loses its ability to control you. Imagine moving through every interaction with clarity, every challenge with focus, every criticism with calm. Imagine the power of being untouchable, not because the world has changed, but because you have mastered yourself. Every person who has learned to act as if nothing bothers them started here with observation, awareness, and choice. They learned that the world will always push, always provoke, always test. But they also learned that their reaction is the only thing within their control. That realization is liberating, transformative, and life-altering. The more you practice, the more automatic this control becomes. You begin to respond with clarity instead of impulse, with strategy instead of chaos, with strength instead of surrender. The moment you step into this awareness, you begin to experience a profound truth. Disturbance only has power if you give it power. Take it away, and suddenly life feels lighter, freer, and filled with possibilities you never noticed before. This is the doorway to unshakable calm, to relentless focus, to a life led by your own hand rather than by reaction. What if the reason life feels heavy is not the events themselves, but the way you interpret them? Perspective is the invisible lens through which every experience passes, coloring it with meaning, intensity, and emotion. A minor inconvenience can feel catastrophic if you allow it to, while a serious challenge can become an opportunity if seen through the right lens. Most of the suffering in the world comes not from external reality, but from the stories we attach to it, the judgments, the assumptions, the exaggerated importance we place on things that in truth do not define us. Acting as if nothing bothers you begins with mastering this lens. It begins by choosing how to see the world and refusing to let every small disturbance dictate your emotional climate. Perspective transforms chaos into clarity, irritations into exercises of strength, and criticism into insight. It is the tool that separates those who are constantly reacting from those who move through life with quiet authority. Imagine looking at every challenge, every confrontation, every setback, and realizing that it does not have to determine your emotional state. Imagine seeing insults as reflections of others' limitations rather than statements about your value. Imagine measuring setbacks against the bigger picture of your life, asking yourself if they truly matter in a week, a month, a year. This is the power of perspective. It allows you to rise above the trivial, to preserve your energy, to maintain clarity and focus when everyone around you is being swept away by emotion. Acting as if nothing bothers you is not a denial of reality. It is a conscious refusal to inflate the meaningless, a deliberate choice to protect your peace. The world will always test you. People will say words meant to wound, circumstances will frustrate, and chaos will appear without warning. But when you cultivate perspective, these disturbances no longer hold the same power over you. They become minor ripples on the surface of your calm, rather than storms that threaten to engulf you. Perspective also shifts your relationship with fear. Fear is often the byproduct of exaggeration, the mind inflating small possibilities into overwhelming threats. When you practice seeing life clearly without distortion, fear loses its grip. You respond with composure rather than panic, with strategy rather than impulsive reaction. Acting unbothered becomes less about suppressing fear and more about refusing to let it control your choices. Every time you reframe a situation, you strengthen your ability to remain calm, centered, and deliberate under pressure. Your mind becomes a lens of clarity, not a mirror of chaos. Each disturbance becomes a training ground, a moment to practice calm, to sharpen focus, to reinforce resilience. The most unshakable people in the world are not those untouched by challenge. They are those who see clearly, who choose their reactions, and who measure every event against a broader truth that transcends immediate discomfort. Perspective is the bridge between disturbance and mastery. When you walk across it, you realize that acting as if nothing bothers you is not about pretending. It is about seeing life in a way that preserves your strength and expands your freedom. The clarity that comes from perspective allows you to step out of the endless cycle of reaction and enter a state of intentional living, where your energy is spent only on what truly matters. This is the mindset that turns pressure into power, chaos into opportunity, and disturbance into a choice. By mastering perspective, you no longer simply endure life. You navigate it with purpose, precision, and unstoppable calm. There is a quiet power in stillness that few truly understand. The world tells you to react, to argue, to defend, to prove yourself, to speak first before thinking, to fill every silence with noise. But the strongest people are often those who choose silence instead. In silence, there is clarity. In silence, there is authority. In silence, there is control. When someone tries to provoke you, when criticism pierces like a blade, when frustration threatens to consume you, the first instinct is to respond immediately, to fight, to explode, to release the tension before it releases you. Yet every reaction, every hastily spoken word, every emotional outburst sees power to circumstance. Acting as if nothing bothers you begins with the mastery of silence. To pause, to breathe, to observe without giving energy to the disturbance is not weakness, it is strategy. It is a demonstration that your inner state is yours alone and that no external force can dictate how you feel unless you allow it. Silence allows you to reclaim control over your mind and body. It creates a buffer between the external world and your internal state, a space where intention replaces impulse. In this space, you can choose how to respond rather than be carried away by the current of emotion. The people who appear untouchable are often not unaffected. They simply understand the power of measured presence. Their calm is not the absence of feeling, but the mastery of it. When you speak less, when you react less, when you allow the storm to pass without surrendering your center, you signal to the world and to yourself that you are not a prisoner of circumstance. Each moment of silence strengthens your composure. Each pause strengthens your resilience. Each deliberate breath reminds your mind that your peace is not negotiable. Acting as if nothing bothers you is forged in these quiet moments, invisible but undeniable, subtle but transformative. Silence also teaches you to observe without judgment. When someone attempts to provoke you, your mind may automatically label the situation as offense, insult, or threat. But in stillness, you can witness the action objectively, recognizing it for what it is without inflating its importance. You see the truth. The disturbance is temporary. The energy spent reacting is wasted, and your response is your choice. This observation cultivates detachment without coldness. It allows you to remain human, compassionate, and aware while refusing to be enslaved by every minor disruption. The more you practice this, the more your mind defaults to calm rather than chaos. Acting unbothered becomes instinctual, a habit rooted not in apathy, but in disciplined awareness. The greatest advantage of silence is that it shifts power inward. The world will continue to provoke, criticize, frustrate, and challenge, but your reaction is the only thing under your command. Each moment you choose calm over agitation, stillness over impulse, observation over reaction, you reinforce your authority over yourself. You stop giving life the ability to steal your focus, your clarity, your energy. You transform ordinary disturbances into exercises of strength, practice in patience, and demonstrations of mastery. Acting as if nothing bothers you is not a denial of life. It is the conscious decision to rise above it, to navigate it with grace, and to become untouchable in a way that is subtle, internal, and profoundly powerful. Through silence, you do not just survive the world, you move through it with intention, resilience, and unstoppable calm. True mastery of calm does not come from avoidance, and it does not come from pretending you are unaffected. It comes from learning to feel deeply without surrendering control, to experience emotion fully while remaining unshaken at your core. This is the art of detachment, the ability to engage with life, to care, to love, to feel disappointment, without allowing those emotions to dictate your decisions or steal your peace. Emotional detachment is not apathy. It is a profound strength, a conscious choice to preserve your energy while remaining fully present. When you detach in this way, you become like a mountain standing firm against the wind, unyielding yet not impervious, strong yet flexible, grounded yet alive. You can feel without being consumed. You can respond without reacting. You can act without being acted upon. Most people live as though every emotion requires immediate action, as though every irritation demands an equal response. This is the cycle that leaves them exhausted, frustrated, and powerless. Acting as if nothing bothers you is about breaking that cycle. It is about recognizing that the intensity of your feelings does not have to translate into chaos or loss of control. It is about observing anger before it flares, noticing disappointment before it festers, feeling fear without letting it limit you. Each time you do this, you strengthen your ability to choose your responses deliberately. You become the architect of your inner world rather than a tenant reacting to external disturbances. Emotional detachment allows you to navigate life with clarity, precision, and grace, transforming every challenge into a moment of demonstration, not surrender. Detachment also gives you perspective on what truly matters. Many of the irritations that dominate your day are minor when viewed in the broader context of your life. The rude comment, the frustrating delay, the unexpected setback, these are often fleeting, inconsequential events that only gain power because we feed them with unnecessary emotion. By detaching, you refuse to feed the noise. You decide consciously where your energy will flow. You learn to preserve your strength for what aligns with your purpose rather than scattering it across 1,000 insignificant disturbances. This is the practice that transforms ordinary existence into intentional living, that turns reaction into choice, and that allows calm to become your default state rather than a rare luxury. The most resilient, unshakable people are not those untouched by challenges. They are those who can feel and observe without surrendering their center. They understand that disturbance is inevitable, but suffering is optional. By cultivating emotional detachment, you gain a superpower, the ability to maintain composure when chaos surrounds you, to respond with clarity when others react impulsively, and to preserve your energy for the battles that truly matter. Every moment you practice this, you are strengthening your inner spine, building a foundation that cannot be toppled by criticism, setbacks, or petty provocations. Acting as if nothing bothers you is no longer a tactic. It becomes a natural rhythm of your life. A steady, powerful current flowing beneath the surface, guiding every thought, every choice, every action with unwavering calm. Through detachment, you learn the profound truth that your emotional state belongs only to you. No insult, no failure, no external circumstance can claim it unless you grant permission. This is freedom. The freedom to feel without being controlled, to observe without being enslaved, to act without being disturbed. It is here, in this space of deliberate emotional sovereignty, that true power is born. When you choose detachment, you do not merely survive life. You rise above it, untouchable, resilient, and fully in command of your mind, your energy, and your destiny. Every moment you feel the urge to react, every time irritation rises like fire in your chest, there is a single choice that determines whether you remain a prisoner of circumstance or a master of yourself. That choice is the pause, the space between stimulus and response. It is a fraction of a second, a conscious breath, a deliberate moment in which power shifts from chaos to control. Most people act instantly, surrendering to emotion, allowing anger, fear, or frustration to dictate their words, their actions, their state of being. But mastery begins with pause. In that split second, you reclaim your authority. In that pause, you decide that no external force, no insult, no inconvenience will rule your inner world. Acting as if nothing bothers you is built in these micro moments, the pauses where true strength is forged, invisible yet undeniable. The pause is more than a delay. It is a declaration. It tells your mind that you are not a passive observer, that you are not a reactive participant in life, but a conscious architect of your experience. When you pause, you give yourself the power to choose clarity over chaos, reason over impulse, strategy over emotion. Every pause strengthens your mental discipline. Every pause trains your nervous system to respond intentionally rather than automatically. The first time you practice this consciously, it feels almost impossible. Your body and mind have been conditioned to react immediately, to surrender control as a reflex. But with repetition, the pause becomes natural. Acting unbothered moves from being an effortful practice to a default state of being, a subtle yet unstoppable force that shapes every interaction, every decision, every outcome. In this pause, you gain perspective. You begin to see that most disturbances are fleeting, that most provocations are trivial, that most setbacks carry no power unless you allow them to. The longer you cultivate this skill, the more effortless it becomes to navigate life without giving away your energy. Traffic, rude comments, failed plans, criticism, disappointment, all of it loses its weight. You are no longer dragged under by the currents of reaction. Instead, you float above them, anchored in calm, observing without surrender, responding with intention, moving through challenges with precision. Acting as if nothing bothers you becomes not just a way to survive life, but a way to thrive within it, to move with power and clarity, while others are pulled into turbulence. The pause also builds resilience in ways that immediate reaction never can. Every time you resist the instinct to lash out, every time you resist the pull of irritation or fear, you are training yourself to withstand greater challenges without losing composure. You are strengthening the bridge between stimulus and response, expanding the gap in which freedom lives. This gap is your domain. It is a space where thought becomes choice, where emotion becomes information, where calm becomes strength. Acting unbothered is not a single act. It is a continuous practice, a discipline embedded in every breath, every glance, every heartbeat. The people who move through life seemingly untouchable are those who have mastered this pause. They are not unaffected by circumstance. They have simply learned to respond on their terms, not the world's. Each micro moment of restraint, each deliberate pause, each conscious choice compounds into an unshakable calm that radiates through everything they do. By training yourself to pause, you reclaim your power, preserve your energy, and build the foundation for a life defined not by chaos, distraction, or reaction, but by intention, resilience, and unstoppable inner strength. Every pause is a victory. Every pause is freedom. Every pause is the first step toward becoming unbothered, unshakable, and fully in command of your life. The thoughts you carry inside your mind are more powerful than any external circumstance. Every feeling of being disturbed, frustrated, or disrespected is amplified by the story you tell yourself about it. Your mind interprets events through a lens shaped by past experiences, insecurities, and assumptions. A minor inconvenience becomes unbearable because your internal narrative inflates it, giving it significance it does not deserve. Acting as if nothing bothers you begins with rewriting that narrative. It requires conscious awareness of the stories you tell yourself, the judgments you make, the meanings you attach to every word, every action, every situation. Your thoughts are not reality, they are interpretations. When you learn to change the interpretation, the emotional weight disappears, leaving clarity, freedom, and strength in its place. Every thought that tells you have been wronged, insulted, or attacked is optional. You can challenge it, you can reframe it, you can replace it instead. Instead of thinking, they disrespected me, you can think, their words reflect them, not me. Instead of dwelling on failure, you can focus on the lessons it carries and the growth it enables. Acting as if nothing bothers you is rooted in this conscious control over your mental narrative. When you realize that your emotional state is constructed, that the disturbance you feel is the result of interpretation rather than truth, you reclaim authority over your mind. No one can invade your inner world without your consent. No circumstance has power over you unless you grant it. This is not denial. It is liberation. This is a choice to prioritize what deserves your attention and energy and dismiss the rest as inconsequential noise. Rewriting your internal narrative is not a one-time effort. It is a continuous, deliberate practice. Every moment that you feel irritation, frustration, or anger is an opportunity to exercise control over your mind. Each time you pause, question the story, and choose a more empowering interpretation, you strengthen the mental pathways that lead to unbothered living. Over time, this discipline becomes automatic. You no longer respond reflexively to every provocation. Instead, your mind naturally evaluates, reframes, and neutralizes disturbance before it gains traction. Acting as if nothing bothers you becomes less about effort and more about instinct, a default state rooted in clarity, self-mastery, and intentional thought. The power of this practice extends beyond immediate calm. By controlling your internal narrative, you preserve your energy, sharpen your focus, and heighten your resilience. The trivial no longer consumes you. The petty no longer distracts you. The challenges you face become opportunities to demonstrate composure, to strengthen character, and to reinforce the unshakable calm that now defines your presence. People who seem untouchable do not exist in a world without disturbance. They exist in a world where they have learned to control their mind, to manage interpretation, and to choose which thoughts deserve life and which deserve silence. Every moment you rewrite your narrative, you are actively shaping the reality you experience. You are deciding how much weight events carry, how much energy you invest, and how firmly your inner state holds. Acting as if nothing bothers you is not wishful thinking. It is disciplined thought, deliberate focus, and conscious control over interpretation. It is the gateway to freedom from reaction, to power over emotion, and to a life where clarity, calm, and unshakable strength are not occasional rewards, but the natural outcome of a mind trained to see truth rather than illusion. Every thought you reshape is a victory. Every narrative you reclaim is proof that you are the master of your inner world, untouchable, unshakable, and free. Your energy is your most precious resource. Every moment spent reacting to irritation, anger, or frustration is energy diverted from growth, focus, and purpose. Every argument, every unnecessary response, every emotional spiral consumes what should belong to you. Acting as if nothing bothers you is fundamentally about protecting this energy, about deciding where it flows and where it does not. When you learn to preserve your energy, you unlock the power to face challenges with clarity, to pursue goals with relentless focus, and to navigate life with a calm that others cannot disrupt. The world is full of distractions, provocations, and drains on your vitality. Those who act unbothered do not waste themselves on the trivial. They move through life with precision, conserving their strength for what truly matters. Consider the countless moments each day where your energy is stolen without purpose. A rude comment, a frustrating traffic jam, and unexpected change in plans. These are all opportunities to practice discipline, to reinforce your calm, to refuse to invest energy in what does not serve you. Acting as if nothing bothers you means choosing where your attention goes, deciding which emotions deserve fuel and which deserve to be released without engagement. This is not passivity. It is strategy. It is the conscious allocation of your most vital resource, your focus, your energy, your mental clarity. Every time you respond impulsively, you diminish your capacity to act where it matters most. Every time you act unbothered, you amplify your power, extend your endurance, and strengthen your ability to remain centered under pressure. Energy preservation transforms ordinary living into intentional living. The calm, unshakable person does not expend their strength on minor irritations because they recognize their limits and the stakes. They understand that attention given to chaos is attention stolen from growth, progress, and mastery. Acting as if nothing bothers you is the deliberate refusal to hand over your vitality to circumstances that do not demand it. It is the commitment to keep your mind clear, your heart steady, and your focus sharp. The more you practice this, the more natural it becomes. You no longer scatter your energy in response to every disturbance. Instead, you channel it into what moves you forward, into what builds your life rather than fragments it. The preservation of energy is also deeply connected to resilience. When you no longer allow minor irritations to consume your focus, you conserve the mental and emotional strength necessary to face significant challenges without being overwhelmed. You become like a reservoir of calm, a source of power that others cannot drain. Acting as if nothing bothers you is not avoidance. It is strategic empowerment. It is the understanding that your energy is finite and that every investment should yield transformation, progress, or mastery. When you commit to protecting your energy, life becomes lighter, clearer, and more navigable. You are no longer at the mercy of petty frustrations or impulsive reactions. You hold the authority over your focus, your emotions, and your state of being. Acting as if nothing bothers you is a declaration that your power, your energy, and your peace belong to you alone. Every conserved moment, every disciplined breath, every choice to remain unbothered strengthens the foundation upon which you build a life of unstoppable momentum, unwavering calm, and relentless clarity. Your energy is your weapon, your shield, and your compass, and guarding it is the first step toward unshakable mastery. Life is unpredictable, and chaos is inevitable. People will fail you, plans will crumble, opportunities will vanish, and circumstances will shift without warning. Most of the suffering in the world comes not from what happens, but from resistance. The refusal to accept that uncertainty is a constant, that control is often an illusion. Acting as if nothing bothers you begins with embracing this truth. To be unshaken, you must acknowledge that life will never perfectly align with your expectations and that security is an illusion created by the mind. When you stop fighting the unpredictable, when you accept that change, setbacks, and discomfort are natural, you free yourself from the unnecessary suffering that comes from wishing things were different. Calm is born not from control over the world, but from mastery over your response to it. Embracing uncertainty does not mean passivity. It means moving through life with confidence, clarity, and intention, even when outcomes are unknown. It means maintaining composure when plans derail, keeping focus when the future is unclear, and acting decisively when fear threatens to paralyze you. Acting as if nothing bothers you in the face of uncertainty transforms fear into opportunity. Each unpredictable event becomes a test of your resilience, a chance to demonstrate composure, and a platform to build unshakable confidence. The mind that embraces uncertainty is free. It does not cling, it does not grasp, and it does not suffer needlessly. Instead, it observes, evaluates, and acts from a place of clarity. This is how power is cultivated, not by eliminating chaos, but by mastering your reaction to it. The first step in this process is acceptance. Accept that you cannot control everything, but you can control your energy, your focus, and your response. Accept that setbacks, disappointments, and disturbances will occur, but they do not define you. Accept that the world will challenge you, but it cannot diminish your inner strength unless you allow it. When you internalize this, you begin to operate from a state of calm that cannot be shaken by circumstance. Acting as if nothing bothers you becomes a conscious decision to remain steady, regardless of the storm outside. The more you practice this, the more it becomes a natural part of your being. Embracing uncertainty also sharpens your perception. When you stop clinging to predictable outcomes, you start to see opportunities that others miss. You notice possibilities where others see only obstacles. You respond to challenges with creativity and courage rather than fear and resistance. Acting unbothered in the face of uncertainty is not avoidance, it is strategic clarity. It allows you to act from a position of strength rather than reaction. Each time you face the unknown with calm, you reinforce your ability to remain composed under pressure. You build a resilience that cannot be taken away, a confidence that grows stronger with every unpredictable event. The freedom that comes from embracing uncertainty is profound. When you no longer fear the unknown, when you no longer allow unexpected events to dictate your mood or focus, life becomes lighter, clearer, and more navigable. Acting as if nothing bothers you is a declaration that your inner state is yours alone, unshaken by circumstance, unclaimed by chaos, and untouchable by fear. Each moment of calm and uncertainty strengthens your foundation, preparing you to face whatever comes next with unwavering strength, relentless focus, and unstoppable clarity. This is the mindset of the unshakable, the calm, the truly free. No one can truly offend you without your permission. Every time you feel insulted, slighted, or disrespected, it is because your mind has assigned meaning and power to the words or actions of others. Acting as if nothing bothers you begins with realizing that offense is optional. The world may attempt to provoke, to challenge, to test your composure, but the ultimate choice belongs to you. You can react, allowing their words or actions to dictate your state of mind, or you can rise above, refusing to surrender your peace. Every unbothered response rewires your mind, reinforcing the understanding that external forces hold no power over your inner world unless you grant it. This awareness is liberating. It shifts the balance of control entirely into your hands and transforms every interaction into a chance to exercise mastery rather than fuel disturbance. Imagine walking through life untouchable by criticism, immune to negativity, and unfazed by opinion. This is not arrogance. It is clarity. It is freedom. Acting as if nothing bothers you is rooted in this consciousness that your self-worth, your focus, and your emotional state are not defined by outside forces. When someone attacks, challenges, or belittles you, their energy reflects their state, not yours. You can acknowledge it without absorbing it. You can observe it without reacting. You can allow it to pass without contamination. Each moment of unbothered composure strengthens your mental armor, making future disturbances less potent, less consuming, and easier to rise above. This is the power of emotional sovereignty, choosing exactly what you allow into your mind and heart. This mindset also rewires your perception of conflict. Arguments, criticism, and confrontation lose their grip over you because you no longer equate them with threat. Acting unbothered does not mean you are passive. It means you are strategic. You respond from a position of calm authority rather than reactive impulse. You choose battles worth fighting and release the rest. The clarity gained from this practice allows you to conserve energy, maintain focus, and direct your strength where it truly matters. The petty disturbances that used to consume hours of thought and waves of emotion are reduced to inconsequential noise, leaving your mind free to create, to act, and to grow. Every time you practice this, you are building resilience, independence, and inner freedom. You are proving to yourself that no circumstance, no insult, and no person can define you without your consent. The unbothered life is not about pretending to be unaffected. It is about understanding the mechanics of influence and choosing not to participate in emotional manipulation. It is a conscious, deliberate, and empowering act. With each instance of composure, your mental and emotional capacity expands. Your confidence grows, not from the absence of challenge, but from mastery over your response to it. The freedom that comes from refusing offense is transformative. It lightens your mind, steadies your emotions, and sharpens your focus. Acting as if nothing bothers you is a declaration. Your inner world is yours alone, untouchable and unclaimed by anyone else. Each moment you exercise this choice reinforces your sovereignty, builds your resilience, and strengthens the foundation of a life guided by intentionality rather than reaction. The world may continue to provoke, but you remain steadfast, unshakable, and fully in command of your own power. Nothing worth mastering comes without practice. Acting as if nothing bothers you is a skill, not a trait you are born with. It is cultivated deliberately, moment by moment, choice by choice, in the small battles of daily life. Each irritation you resist, each provocation you rise above, each moment you choose composure over reaction strengthens your capacity for unshakable calm. The mind, like a muscle, grows stronger through repetition. The more you practice responding with intentional calm rather than reflexive emotion, the more automatic it becomes. Eventually, acting unbothered is no longer effortful. It is your default state. Every micro victory compounds, creating a foundation of resilience and clarity that supports every aspect of your life. Begin where you are. Start with the small disturbances, the minor irritations that normally pull you off balance. Traffic delays, unsolicited opinions, minor frustrations. These are your training ground. When you face these everyday annoyances and choose to remain composed, you are exercising the muscles of patience, perspective, and control. Each moment of calm is a statement to your mind that your peace is non-negotiable, that your energy is yours to manage, and that no external circumstance has the power to dictate your state unless you allow it. Over time, the practice of remaining unbothered in small situations scales naturally to larger ones. The insults, setbacks, and crises that once felt overwhelming become manageable because the internal habit of calm is firmly established. This practice is not about denial or suppression. It is about conscious engagement, deliberate choice, and mental discipline. Each time you notice the urge to react and choose restraint instead, you are strengthening your resilience. Each moment you pause, observe, and respond intentionally reinforces the bridge between stimulus and response. This bridge is the foundation of mastery, the space in which freedom lives. The longer you cultivate this skill, the more automatic and natural it becomes to face life with clarity, strength, and focus. The chaos that once controlled you now becomes a backdrop for your calm authority. Acting as if nothing bothers you becomes effortless because it is anchored in habit, reinforced by practice, and validated by results. Consistency is key. One moment of unbothered composure does not create mastery, but repeated moments accumulate into transformation. Every day presents countless opportunities to practice, opportunities to choose calm over agitation, reason over impulsivity, and intentional action over emotional reaction. Each decision strengthens the neural pathways that govern composure, building a mind capable of weathering any storm without losing clarity, energy, or focus. The people who seem unshakable did not achieve it by avoiding challenge. They achieved it by practicing control relentlessly until it became second nature. Through deliberate practice, you gain more than calm, you gain freedom. Freedom from reaction, freedom from unnecessary suffering, freedom from the external forces that once dictated your mood, your energy, and your focus. Acting as if nothing bothers you becomes a natural rhythm, a habit embedded in every breath, every thought, every choice. The more you practice, the more unshakable you become, until calm is not an occasional state, but the foundation of your life, the lens through which you see the world, and the power by which you navigate it with confidence, clarity, and unstoppable strength. Your focus is your most powerful weapon. Every distraction, every irritation, every disturbance is a thief attempting to steal your attention, your clarity, and your energy. Acting as if nothing bothers you is fundamentally about defending your focus against these constant intrusions. The world is full of noise, chaos, and provocation, and those who allow it to dictate their attention are powerless in the face of challenge. But when you train your mind to remain steady, unshaken, and undistracted, you take back what belongs to you. Focus becomes a shield, clarity becomes armor, and calm becomes a source of unstoppable power. Every time you refuse to be bothered, you reinforce your ability to concentrate on what truly matters, ignoring the rest. Distractions are not just external, they are internal. Thoughts, fears, judgments, and insecurities pull at your attention with the same intensity as external irritations. Acting unbothered requires discipline over both. It requires conscious recognition of the mental chatter that seeks to disrupt your calm and deliberate choice to release what does not serve you. When irritation arises, when your mind wants to dwell on offense, failure, or frustration, pause, observe, release, redirect. Every time you choose focus over reaction, you reclaim energy and clarity. Acting as if nothing bothers you is a practice of mental discipline as much as emotional control. It trains your mind to remain anchored, unshakable, and resilient, no matter what chaos surrounds you. Focus also amplifies effectiveness. When your mind is unbothered, it operates with precision and efficiency. Decisions become clearer, actions become more deliberate, and outcomes improve because energy is concentrated rather than scattered. Every moment spent reacting unnecessarily is a moment lost from growth, progress, and mastery. Acting unbothered ensures that your attention is spent on what builds your life rather than what drains it. Each day becomes a training ground to strengthen this capacity, to fortify your mind, and to sharpen the mental discipline that allows calm to prevail over chaos. The cultivation of unshakable focus transforms ordinary experiences into exercises of mastery. A rude comment, a frustrating delay, an unexpected setback. These are no longer disturbances, but opportunities to reinforce clarity, composure, and intentionality. Each challenge becomes a test of focus, a chance to observe the mind, and a moment to practice remaining unbothered. With repeated practice, the ability to concentrate in the midst of disruption becomes instinctive. Your mind becomes like a laser, cutting through noise, ignoring triviality, and operating from a place of deliberate power. Ultimately, focus is freedom. The more you guard it, the more you preserve your energy, your clarity, and your inner peace. Acting as if nothing bothers you is not a rejection of life. It is a deliberate choice to invest your attention where it yields the greatest return. Each moment you remain calm, each time you refuse to react, and each instance you direct focus intentionally, you strengthen the foundation of your life. You become untouchable by distraction, impervious to chaos, and unstoppable in the pursuit of your purpose. Focus is your weapon, your shield, and your path to mastery, and the unbothered mind wields it with unwavering authority. Your mind is the command center of your life, and the thoughts you allow to occupy it shape everything you become. Every moment spent ruminating on anger, frustration, or disappointment is a moment spent surrendering power. Acting as if nothing bothers you begins with taking full responsibility for the mental space you inhabit. You cannot control the world, you cannot control other people, and you cannot control every circumstance, but you can control your attention, your interpretation, and your reaction. Every thought you choose to engage with, every belief you reinforce, and every judgment you allow into your mind either strengthens your power or diminishes it. Acting unbothered is the conscious decision to protect your mental territory and to invest in thoughts that elevate rather than drain your energy. The mind that is unbothered is a fortress. It observes disturbances without surrendering to them. It evaluates challenges without being consumed by them. It distinguishes between what requires action and what is meaningless noise. This mental discipline is cultivated through awareness, reflection, and intentional thought. Each time you notice a reaction rising within you and choose calm instead, you are reinforcing neural pathways that make composure your natural state. Every moment you refuse to be hijacked by emotion, you strengthen the architecture of your mind, building resilience, focus, and clarity that cannot be easily shaken. Acting as if nothing bothers you is less about suppressing emotion and more about directing your mental energy deliberately, ensuring that every thought serves your growth, your purpose, and your power. When the mind is unbothered, clarity replaces chaos. Decisions are made with precision rather than impulse. Energy is spent on creation, action, and progress instead of wasted on agitation and reaction. The ability to maintain mental composure under pressure is not innate. It is trained. It grows from repeated practice of observing thoughts, pausing before responding, and refusing to grant unnecessary significance to disturbances. The more consistently you engage in this practice, the more instinctive it becomes. Acting unbothered evolves from a conscious effort into a default state, allowing you to navigate life with calm authority while others are swept away by noise, emotion, and distraction. Mental mastery also amplifies emotional strength. When the mind is disciplined, the emotions follow. The unbothered mind produces an unshakable heart. Irritation, fear, resentment no longer dictate behavior because the internal narrative has been rewritten. Thoughts are evaluated for their value, significance, and truth before being allowed to take hold. This alignment of mind and heart transforms disturbances into neutral events, minor setbacks into opportunities for composure, and potential chaos into a canvas for deliberate action. Acting as if nothing bothers you is the exercise of this alignment, the conscious calibration of your inner world so that it functions as a tool of empowerment rather than a conduit of suffering. Ultimately, mental mastery is freedom. Freedom from reaction, freedom from unnecessary suffering, freedom from the chaos that consumes most people. Acting as if nothing bothers you is the declaration that your mind belongs to you alone. Each moment you exercise this control, each thought you choose deliberately, and each disturbance you allow to pass without disruption reinforces the fortress of your mental state. The unbothered mind is the foundation of unshakable strength, unstoppable focus, and limitless potential. It is here, in this disciplined mental space, that power, clarity, and calm converge, transforming every challenge into an opportunity to demonstrate mastery over yourself and, by extension, over the life you are building. Every action you take, every word you speak, and every thought you cultivate either reinforces your power or diminishes it. Acting as if nothing bothers you is not a passive state. It is an active, deliberate practice of authority over your own life. Each time you choose calm over agitation, each time you refuse to react to provocation, and each time you maintain focus amid chaos, you are exercising control over the one thing no one can ever take from you, your self-mastery. This practice transforms ordinary moments into exercises of strength, sharpening your ability to navigate life with clarity, precision, and resilience. The unbothered mind is not immune to challenges. It simply refuses to surrender to them, turning every disturbance into an opportunity to demonstrate power and poise. The essence of acting unbothered lies in consistency. It is not enough to remain calm occasionally or in comfortable circumstances. True mastery emerges when you maintain composure under pressure, when adversity arrives unannounced, when the world tests you relentlessly. Every disruption becomes a chance to reinforce your inner discipline. Every insult, setback, or frustration becomes a tool for cultivating composure, resilience, and mental strength. The more consistently you practice this, the more natural it becomes. Calm is no longer a choice. It becomes the default state of your being. You move through life with authority, unshaken by the noise around you, untouchable by trivial disturbances, and unstoppable in the pursuit of your purpose. Part of this mastery is the understanding that emotional disturbance is voluntary. Every irritation you feel, every moment of anger or frustration exists because you allow it to. Acting as if nothing bothers you is about reclaiming the decision-making power over your emotional state. You acknowledge challenges, observe discomfort, and deliberately choose response over reaction. The world may attempt to provoke, but it cannot command your mind or dictate your emotions unless you grant permission. This is the foundation of personal sovereignty, the realization that you are the ultimate authority over your inner world. Each time you exercise this sovereignty, your strength grows exponentially, and your ability to navigate life unshaken becomes more effortless. When calm becomes habitual, it reshapes your relationships, your work, and your life. People notice the steadiness of your presence, the clarity of your decisions, and the subtle power in your composure. Your energy is no longer scattered on trivial disturbances. It is concentrated on creation, growth, and achievement. Acting as if nothing bothers you does not isolate you from the world. It positions you above it. You engage fully without surrendering control. You care deeply without being consumed. You act decisively without distraction. The unbothered state magnifies your effectiveness, sharpens your focus, and solidifies your influence over your own life. Every moment you remain unshaken reinforces the truth that your power is yours alone. It cannot be stolen, diminished, or undermined by circumstance, opinion, or conflict. Acting as if nothing bothers you is the conscious cultivation of this truth. It is the embodiment of freedom, resilience, and mastery. Each deliberate choice to remain calm strengthens your foundation, elevates your presence, and builds a life where challenges are no longer threats but opportunities to demonstrate the unwavering strength, clarity, and inner authority that define the unbothered mind.